Okay, we're on the next page of this factor and polynomials foldable that we have. This is the third section that we're doing, and it's the trinomials that look like x squared plus bx plus c. And I always hesitate to do this, but I'm going to do it anyway because I've already got my handy dandy little book made up and it looks good, and I'm going to use it. So I'm also going to add in here perfect square trinomials. Okay, so that one's a little bit different, but I'm throwing this in here in this part because it is a quick, easy, if you get the shortcut, it's easy to do. And I may not do it on this video, I may hold off on it, but it is on this page. So, but I want to pay attention right now to this part. On these trinomials, on this section, your lead coefficient is 1. So these are the easier, not that any of them are difficult, but this one is a little bit easier than the next section. Just a little less work. Alright, so here we go. If you have a polynomial that's in standard form, x squared plus bx plus c, you will factor this into a pair of binomials if it's factorable. Okay, that means 2 terms in parentheses times 2 terms in parentheses, in case you don't know your vocabulary yet. Alright, so here we go. Got the steps, handy dandy little box, everything's nice and neat for you. And the first thing you want to do is check for the greatest common factor. It's easy to forget that step, but do it and it'll save you some time later on. Save you some headaches sometimes. Alright, so I'm keeping it real simple for you. If I just told you that it's going to factor into a pair of binomials, then you're going to have this. That's what it's going to look like, and you're going to fill in these parentheses. So it says draw the parentheses and fill in the variable. Well, if my variable is x, I've got to say something times something is going to give me x squared. Well, that's easy. It's x. X times x is x squared. So that's what's going to go in this first little part. So now, I do this little X puzzle. I've seen it called a diamond puzzle, whatever. But it's just a little way to, cut off some of my stuff. Oh well, we'll fix it. So you're going to put, inside this X, you're going to put the B term, this, in the bottom. And that should have said the C term in the top. So what you're looking for is what will multiply to give me the last term and add to give me the middle term. So let me just show you. And you have to be careful with your signs, because if the signs are just positive and positive, then your answers will be positive and positive. We'll get more into that in just a second. Let's just do one. So here's my first example. I've got b squared minus 6b plus 8. So I know that I'm going to have a b and a b, because b times b gives me b squared. So here's what I do. This term, the last one, goes in the top, the c goes in the top, the b goes in the bottom. So things that multiply to give me 8 and add to give me negative 6. You're looking for factors of 8 whose sum is negative 6. So things that multiply to give me 8, there aren't many. It's 4 and 2, or 1 and 8. Well, 1 and 8, no matter how you put it together, is not going to give me 6. But 4 and 2 can give me 6. If I want a negative 6, but I have a positive product, 2 positive numbers will give me a positive product. 2 negative numbers will give me a positive product. So negative 4 times negative 2 is 8. Negative 4 and negative 2 add up to give me negative 6. So these are my factors. These are what go, I don't know why I just wrote a 6. These are what go here. That's it. So you can check it. B times b is b squared. negative 2b, and negative 4b gives me negative 6b. Negative 4 times negative 2 gives me positive 8. Okay, let's do another. So this is what I'm talking about here when I say what will the signs be. Your signs are either going to be both positive, or they're going to be both negative, or, I don't know why this got cut off, they're going to be a negative and a positive. Oh, sorry, you can't even see what I'm doing. In that third box, figure out what your signs are going to be. If your C term is positive, then you're either going to have 2 positive factors or 2 negative factors. But if your C term is negative, if this number up here is negative, or if this is negative, then you're going to have a positive and a negative factor, because that's the only way you're going to get a negative product. Some of you get that, some of you don't. Think about it. Alright. Man, this cut everything off. So we solved the X puzzle and we put the answer in the parentheses. Oh my goodness. I cannot write. I cannot spell. I haven't been able to spell all day long. P-A-R-E-N-T-H-E-S-E-S parentheses. Alright, and then you just do your distributive property to check it. Alright, so let's do example 2. I have 4v squared minus 4v minus 8. Check for a greatest common factor. Yes, it is 4. So I'm going to take out a 4, and that leaves me with v squared minus v minus 2. Now, I didn't use square brackets on this one because I'm not grouping, and I don't really need those square brackets. But if those square brackets make you comfortable and make you happy, use them. So, my answer is going to look like this. It's going to be a binomial times a binomial, and these first two terms have to multiply to give me this one. So v times v is v squared. Here's where I have to figure out what the other part's going to be. I put my C term in the top, my B term in the bottom. So I need things that multiply to give me negative 2 and add to give me negative 1. And we just said on this with the signs, if your C term is negative, then you're going to have a positive and a negative factor. So my only factors of 2 are 2 and 1. And if I've got to add them up to get a negative 1, then I have to have a negative 2 and a positive 1. So it's v minus 2 and v plus 1. Okay, check it. If I multiply, I get v squared. 1v minus 2v is negative 1v. Negative 2 times 1 is negative 2. And if I distribute the 4 back out, I get 4v squared minus 4v minus 8. I'm only going to do one more example for this. We'll just get our practice and our questions worked out in class. So here I've got 6x squared minus 66x plus 60. Do I have a greatest common factor? I do. It is 6. And so that leaves me with x squared minus 11x plus 10. Sorry, parentheses. So it's going to factor to be a binomial times a binomial. And these two terms have to give me this one. So x times x is x squared. Now I've got to do my little working out my other factors here. Things that multiply to give me 10 because the last term goes on top, and add to give me negative 11. So I'm looking for factors of 10 that add up to give me negative 11. Well, we said a minute ago, if this is positive and this is negative, I'm going to have a positive and a negative factor. My big factor has to be the negative because that's the only way I'm going to get, oh, wait a minute, I'm messing up. If this is positive, then I can either have 2 positives or 2 negatives, right? I was doing it backwards in my head. So if this is negative, I've got to have 2 negative factors. 2 negatives are going to multiply to give me a positive. 2 negatives are going to add to give me a negative. So factors of 10 that will give me 11, the only factors are 5 and 2 and 10 and 1. 5 and 2 is definitely not going to add up to give me 11, but 10 and 1 will. So it's x minus 10, x minus 1. Check it. Do this part first. X times x is x squared. Negative x and negative 10x is negative 11x. Negative 10 times negative 1 is positive 10. Then distribute the 6. 6x squared minus 66x plus 60. That's all we're doing for today. We'll pick up the rest of it on the next one.